You can't fix loneliness the way you fix a broken sink. You grab a wrench, twist a few pipes, and expect the water to flow again. But emotions don't work like plumbing. Most guys treat connection like a problem to solve. If she's distant, I'll do X, Y, Z. As if there's a manual somewhere that says, Step 1, compliment her. Step 2, win her back. But relationships aren't checklists. They're signals, timing, silence, and tone. It's like music, not mechanics. You can't tighten a bolt on someone's heart and expect it to stop leaking. And yet, we try. We analyze texts, replay conversations, watch alpha advice, videos. We think control equals attraction. But control kills warmth. Every time you overanalyze, she feels it. You might not notice it, but that calculation, that strategy energy, it pushes her away. She doesn't leave because she's bored. She leaves because she doesn't feel safe being real. Loneliness isn't about being alone, it's about not being understood. And the moment you start treating connection like an engineering problem, you've already lost what made it human. So yeah, you can't fix loneliness like a leak, because you're not dealing with water, you're dealing with warmth. And warmth doesn't flow through pipes, it flows through presence. We've been sold a lie that attraction is about dominance. Stand tall, speak firm, don't show weakness. And sure, confidence matters, but dominance without depth, that's just noise. Real attraction comes from awareness, the ability to notice, to read the room, the pause, the hesitation in her voice. That awareness isn't weakness, it's precision. Think about it. Dominance demands space. Awareness creates space. One shouts, the other listens. One wants to win, the other wants to connect. Which one do you think people stay for? It's not that women hate strong men. They just sense when strength is performative, when it's armor instead of authenticity. And armor might impress, but it never embraces. So no, it's not dominance that attracts, it's awareness. The quiet skill of being fully present, the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. You don't make someone feel safe by being the loudest in the room. You do it by being tuned in, by hearing the words that weren't said, and respecting the silence that follows. Because connection isn't about power, it's about permission, the space you give someone to show up as they are. That's what keeps people close. That's what makes her stay. Bro, that sounds too soft. Women don't want a guy who overthinks emotions. They want someone decisive, a man who leads, not a therapist. Yeah, that's the common take. But here's the problem. People confuse emotional awareness with emotional dependency. They're not the same thing. Awareness is control. It's knowing when to speak, when to pause, when to walk away. Dependency is the opposite, needing validation just to feel steady. So no. Being emotionally aware doesn't make you weak. It makes you adaptive. It means you're not ruled by your impulses or your ego. You actually understand your signals. Think about it. If you can't read your own emotions, how do you expect to read hers? It's like driving with fogged up windows. You'll keep guessing where the road is. And women, they notice that. They can feel when you're self-centered versus self-aware. One pushes them away. The other pulls them closer without effort. So when guys say emotions are for women, what they really mean is, I'm scared of mine. And that fear doesn't make you strong, it makes you predictable. Real strength is when you can stay calm in discomfort, when you can hear something painful and not shut down. That's not softness, that's skill. You know that guy scrolling through TikTok at 2 a.m., memorizing 10 signs she's into you. That's not curiosity, that's panic. A desperate search for patterns in chaos. He treats attraction like coding. Input confidence, output chemistry. But emotions aren't algorithms. They glitch, they loop, they crash when you try to optimize them. And here's the truth. That approach works maybe 1 inch 1,000 times. But even when it does, it's fragile, built on mimicry, not understanding. She doesn't leave because your timing was off. She leaves because your connection felt scripted, because she felt studied, not seen. The irony? The more you try to control attraction, the more it evaporates. Control chokes curiosity. It tells the other person, I already know you. And that's the fastest way to lose them. We chase these micro rules, text within 3 hours, keep eye contact, smile at 60%. But no one falls in love at 60%. People fall in love when they feel unpredictable safety. So yeah, the dating playbook might give you short-term wins, but long-term, it robs you of depth. And depth is the only thing that survives silence, boredom, and time. If you're chasing formulas, you're not building connection, you're rehearsing it. And that's why she feels it's fake, because it is. Matthew Hussey once said, "The sexiest thing a man can do is listen without fixing." It sounds simple, almost cliché, but it's revolutionary, because most men don't listen. They wait to reply. The Gottman Institute ran a 20-year study on couples. Their finding? The strongest relationships weren't built on romance or wealth, but on one small behavior: turning toward. That means noticing small bids for connection, a sigh, a glance, a random story about her day, and responding, even briefly. Couples who did that had an 80% higher success rate. It's not grand gestures that keep love alive. It's micro moments of empathy, the invisible thread that says, I see you, even when you're quiet. Matthew once coached a man who asked, how do I make her trust me again? He said, don't make her trust you. Be someone she doesn't have to doubt. And that's it. You don't chase trust. You become trust. You don't convince someone to stay. You become the kind of peace they don't want to lose. So maybe attraction isn't about being magnetic. Maybe it's about being safe. Because safety, not seduction, is what makes people open their hearts again. That's not softness. That's mastery. The quiet confidence of someone who no longer needs to prove they're worth it because they already live like they are. By the way, this isn't a dating hack. This is a human skill. You could be single, married, divorced, doesn't matter. The art of connection runs deeper than romance. Because if you can't connect with yourself, you'll keep repeating the same patterns with others. Different faces, same distance. You'll call it bad luck, but it's just unlearned awareness. People treat relationships like goals, something to achieve. But connection isn't an achievement. It's a rhythm. You either learn to move with it, or you keep stepping on toes. Sometimes, the quietest relationships are the strongest. They don't post, they don't prove. They just exist with ease. That ease comes from trust, built in small, invisible moments. And here's the funny thing, when you stop chasing attraction, it shows up. When you stop performing, people feel you more. Authenticity is louder than any strategy. So no, this video isn't about getting her back. It's about getting you back, the version of you that doesn't need to perform to feel valuable. And once you find that version, everything else changes. Conversations, friendships, even silence feels different. You stop trying to be interesting. You start being interested. That's the shift. From how do I get her to how do I show up fully? And that's where real attraction lives, not in words, but in presence. A lot of men think silence is strength, that if you don't show emotions, no one can hurt you. But silence doesn't protect you, it isolates you. It's armor that slowly becomes a cage. You've been told, don't be too emotional, as if feeling deeply is a flaw. But emotions aren't the problem. It's what you do with them that defines your power. Real strength isn't silence. It's knowing when to speak and how, the kind of calm that doesn't suppress truth, but channels it. The confidence to say, that hurt, without shame. Because when you refuse to feel, you don't just block pain, you block joy, curiosity, love. You become unbreakable, but also unreachable. And that's not resilience. That's numbness. Women don't want a man who never feels. They want a man who feels and still stands. Someone who can carry weight without pretending it's light. Think of it like lifting silence might look strong, but communication builds endurance. Every honest word you share adds muscle to your emotional frame. So, stop treating openness like weakness. Vulnerability isn't the absence of power, it's its evolution. It's the strength that grows after you've stopped hiding. Because a man who can speak truth gently is far more dangerous and far more attractive than one who only knows how to stay silent. You can't get her back in 2 steps. You can't verkonku haidung. You can't rebuild trust with one text. Life doesn't work like an IKEA manual, and love definitely doesn't. But that's the fantasy, right? The internet promises, say this line, do this move, boom, she's back. It's seductive because it sells control. It makes chaos feel predictable. Reality check attraction isn't a puzzle you solve. It's a rhythm you learn. Every person has a different beat. If you keep dancing to someone else's playlist, you'll always step off tempo. There isn't a shortcut to emotional maturity. You can't just download self-awareness like an app. You build it, painfully, through reflection, rejection, and repetition. Quick fix culture loves to say, just be confident. But confidence without context is arrogance. Real growth takes discomfort, not dopamine. And yeah, that's why most advice online doesn't stick. It skips the slow part, the part where you actually face yourself instead of fixing her. Because no 2-step trick can make someone stay. You don't earn connection through tactics. You earn it through truth, over time. So stop looking for formulas. The only step-by-step worth following is the one where you step out of denial and step into presence. Let's get practical, because insight means nothing without action. Here are 2 habits that quietly rewire the way you connect not just with women, but with yourself. First, reflective journaling. Not the Dear Diary type. Just 5 minutes after every meaningful interaction. Ask yourself, what did I feel? What did I assume? What did I avoid? You'll start seeing patterns: how often you shut down when challenged or joke to deflect tension. Awareness grows in the cracks of honesty. Write, don't judge. Second, pause before reacting. 3 seconds of silence can save an entire moment. That small gap between trigger and response, that's where maturity lives. Because in that pause, you stop being a reactor and start being a responder. You choose your tone, your words, your energy, and that's where respect is born. Try it next time when you feel misunderstood. Don't defend instantly. Breathe. Count to 3. Then speak with clarity, not panic. That pause is your power. These 2 habits don't look dramatic, but give them 30 days and you'll feel it. Conversations flow smoother, tension fades quicker, people open up more. You won't see the progress bar move daily, but your future self will know. Quiet consistency changes everything that confidence alone can't. Here's the truth: you don't chase connection. You grow into someone worth connecting with. Attraction isn't about pursuit, it's about presence. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be real. The kind of person who listens more than he performs, who chooses calm over control, and who values depth over drama. Every time you pause, reflect, or speak with intention, you're upgrading silently, like a background download for your character. No notification, just progress. And yeah, maybe she'll notice one day, or maybe she won't. But that's not the point anymore, because this version of you isn't chasing approval, he's becoming peace. You stop asking, how do I make her stay? And start asking, how do I stay aligned? That's where confidence stops being a mask and starts being your baseline. So no, this isn't a self-help sermon. It's just a reminder. Your worth isn't built in someone else's eyes. It's built in the quiet moments when you decide to show up better. If you've made it this far, congrats, you're already doing the work. The kind of work no one claps for, but everyone eventually feels. So yeah, maybe subscribe, not to me, but to that version of you. The one who stopped performing and started living.